Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast that explores Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, elder candidate at Redeemer Fellowship.
What's up, boo-boo?
Nothing. What's up with you?
You know, I've been sick all week.
Yeah, you have been. You've been a little
awful.
baby.
Man,
and you're like one of those, like, oh, I have a cold, and you become a man baby.
No. First of all, I'm sick a lot, but I never talk about it because I'm such a man.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. And the
Dude,
sickness
you're one of the
is,
biggest
no,
whiners I know.
you don't know about it. You don't know when I'm sick. That's the
I
thing.
do know.
No,
I
you
do
only know when
because
it's
you
really
sit there-
bad.
No, because you sit there and you complain.
No.
You get angry.
Let
You
me tell you
get
this.
more annoyed.
If you
as
had what
usual.
I have, you'd be in the hospital. You'd be on IV fluids.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Is that
Yep.
what it is?
Mm-hmm.
You have a sniffles?
Yeah.
I got the sniffles.
No, man. I've got some sort of like viral meningitis thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah, I have
Wait,
meningitis.
what? Yeah, meningitis.
Yeah, it's rough. No, I mean, it's been bad, and it's annoying because it's a cold, but it's making me feel so cruddy, and I'm not. So right now, I feel better than I have all week. So
That's because you're with me.
it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. It
does
only
help.
helps. It
Yep.
only helps. But see, Joe, November 10th and 11th, you're going to have me as well in
Well,
New
for what?
Zealand
What?
for the Doctrine and Devotion Conference in New Zealand.
No, I'm not going to that.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not going.
You are
to
going. You are going.
I'm not going.
So any of our listeners from Australia, New Zealand, you can sign up for the conference. We put the link up in the show notes. Grab it. Go. But
Yep.
if you're around here, the 2018 Doctrine and Devotion Conference, the Spirit and the Church with Doug P. Diddy Logan.
Not P. Diddy, just Diddy.
Yeah, some people call him Pastor Diddy, P. Diddy.
Okay, they call him Pastor Diddy, not
They call
P. Diddy.
he told
I
me
don't think so.
He says
No.
it keeps getting short. It went Pastor Diddy to P. Diddy to Diddy. So
Now it's just
that's
D.
the range.
Then it's going to be D.
D.
All right. Yeah, that's going to be awesome, man. The New Zealand conference is so fun, so unique, so great. I'm really, and we get to hang out with Dr. Renahan again. So that's a real, honestly, that's a privilege. And then,
And I think he might be coming to our conference, the 2018.
yeah, we want him up here. So then we're going to have our conference in 2018, man. People are already signing up.
Mm-hmm.
I got the early bird special. What is it, like $60?
$60?
Yeah, you got to get in on that.
You got to get on that.
Get the T-shirt.
T-shirt,
Get the journal. You guys see the artwork
Jofo.
from Peter Voth? Oh,
That-
Peter Voth.
Oh, man. When I
So
woke up and I saw
crazy.
that, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
Today's a good day. So I'm really excited. So, Joe, we're going to be talking about Half-Caf
Yeah.
Calvinist, the
Wait.
third type of Calvinist.
Half-Caf Calvinist.
Half-Caf Calvinist.
Do they know what a half-calf is? I don't think they know what half-calf is. All the youngsters, do they know
All the
half-calf?
Well, I don't think so. I think it's more of a, well, yeah, they have an understanding like people order half-calf.
They
but
do. Who
people
orders
order-
half-calf? Why?
people
Because they
order
can't commit.
half-calf.
They can't commit either way. Like
Can't commit either way.
They can
Well,
just
why
go
is it
caffeinate it?
that? Okay, how did you guys do it back in the 40s? What did half-calf
what?
mean
No,
to you?
you mean okay? In like the 70s and 80s when I was
40s,
growing
yeah.
up.
Yeah, growing up, 40s,
I saw in the 70s and 80s.
30s and
I saw
40s,
my
yeah.
mom and dad like they would take a can of Folgers, regular, leaded they called it, and they would take another can of Folgers, decaffeinated, unleaded they called it, and they would mix them half and half. And even then, I was like, I don't understand why you got either have the decaf or have the regular. Why you got to mix it?
why are you doing that?
What's the upside of just half of the caffeine? Half of the caffeine? I can't talk. So they do that today, right? They do the half calf in the. Oh, you're getting notifications, man.
Yes.
All right. Are you getting? Is it about the thing?
Yes.
Okay. So you're. Okay. So just go ahead and tell me. Okay. So what?
No, we're meeting up with a friend,
Okay.
Daniel Ehrman,
Yeah.
on Saturday just
I'm
to
looking
talk.
forward to that.
Yeah, talk and hang out. He's a radio host. His role's kind of shifted, so we're going to be hanging out for
Good guy.
discussing some other things.
Oh, in fact, I
the
did
station. Yeah, you did a thing on the station.
WYLL. I did an interview with him. That's going to air this month, I think.
Yeah, there you go. So,
Yeah, be on the lookout for that.
so
We'll be
he
recording
wants to hang out and talk about a couple things.
Cool, man. I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, half-calf Calvinists. If we've been talking about different kinds of Calvinists, we have the new Calvinist, right? The young Calvinist, one
Yeah.
that the person that was, recently came to understand the doctrines of grace. And then we talked about bad Calvinists, right? Those the bad representations of people that claim to be Reformed. And so when we talk about half-calf Calvinists, if you're done taking pictures of me,
I'm done. I want to
Why
send
don't
it to
you
Dan.
answer
That
so-
way you could say hi.
what do we mean by half-calf Calvinist?
What do we mean by half? I would say that it's almost, I don't want to say smorgasbord, where you kind of, but I feel like it's someone that is kind of picking and choosing. They agree with some aspects.
Let's roll with the metaphor. Half-calf.
Okay, they're only accepting half of it.
Oh, there you go. So
There you go.
They're not fully Reformed.
Reformed, yes.
Or Reformed Baptist.
Yes.
they are embracing some aspects
but not all
of Calvinism.
of it. So, like for some, I think, like 4-point Calvinists, people that struggle with, I'm trying to think, what would they struggle with? Limited atonement, right?
Yep.
They agree with everything else. They get total depravity, or they, agree with total depravity. But when it comes to limited atonement, they struggle.
That's a common
with
one.
that.
That's a common. People are like, I'm not down with that. I was there for a long time. I remember having a fight with my roommate at college freshman year, and I'm like, dude, and I kept quoting 1 John 2:2 and saying like, you're just crazy. Propitiation for the sins of the whole world, not for ours only, but the sins of the whole world.
Yeah.
And I was so angry at this guy. I went and I spent all Christmas break studying, and I came back a 5-pointer. So it didn't really work. Okay, so there's people that embrace some, but not others.
Yeah.
What? So why aren't there just Calvinists and non-Calvinists? Why do we have this mix? Do you think of people that only embrace part?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is people have read. Some people have read, some people have studied, and their conscience doesn't allow them to.
Right.
And I think that's okay. They have theological differences, and they have these theological convictions.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it is as they read, as they study, they're swayed to believe
by
it.
the devil.
No.
Away from
No, but I'm
Reformed
trying to make
no.
sure that we're not saying it like...
Right.
But you know what I mean? Because I want it. This is for me.
They're being responsible
this
theologians.
was being responsible theologian. This is where they have landed, and so
you got to respect.
You got to respect that. I got to respect that. The fact that they have sought it through. They have worked it out as best as possible, like any of us,
right?
Because we never have it 110% right, or even 100%.
Wait,
110%.
I'm not going to get into it. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. But they've earnestly, and responsibly studied.
And that's, I don't have to respect every view out there, but I do respect people who have studied and respect that they went through the process. And so even when I disagree with somebody, whether it's politically or theologically, when they've actually put the work into it, I think of them a little bit differently than I do the person who just doesn't care, who hasn't given it any thought. So I think that's a good point. Some people wind up as Half-Caf Calvinists, and we're having fun with that. Please don't anybody be offended.
Yeah, don't be offended. It's us being clever,
right?
Because we're clever.
Don't be a big baby.
Oh, okay, that was more offensive than the Half-Caf comment.
So why you got to be like that, you baby head?
No, stop. Dude, I'm not even going to play around with you. Come on now.
All right.
Now listen, the babies want to know, what are some of the other ways?
Well, I would say I can only think of one other. So some people wind up to be the Half-Caf Calvinist through conscience, theological study. They just wind up disagreeing with Calvinism in its fullest form. But then I think probably the other way that people wind up here is just through a kind of ignorance, and by ignorance, no. I'm trying to say
first you call them a baby.
Some of them are baby heads.
Okay, you called some of them baby heads.
Yeah,
and now you're calling them ignorant.
Okay, ignorant is not a bad word. I'm not calling them ignoramuses.
Really? What?
I'm not calling them ignoramuses.
No, I'm just saying if you and I were sitting here and I was like, Joe, you so ignorant. You're telling me you wouldn't have been offended
if you were trying to tell me how to do business and math. And I
did at the elders meeting trying to explain to you how numbers work.
Yeah, and then I was like, hey man, I think I got a better way of doing it. And you were to say, you're being ignorant, you'd be right.
I'm still right. Because I had a whole thing here at the elders meeting. Brian and I are trying to explain to you how numbers work.
I got you to actually take it all back, and you were proven actually wrong in your main thesis.
The second one.
Okay, but in the first one.
In the first one you were right. Second one you were wrong.
Okay, so even Steven.
So,
and all you people that tuned out, bye Felicia. All right. Anyways, so I would say that there are people that have a kind of ignorance, and by ignorance, I just mean uninformed. They do not know.
They haven't studied yet.
Right. They haven't really dived into the issues. And so, maybe this is where some of the smorgasbord ideology that you mentioned earlier comes in, or maybe this is just like, hey, you know what? Maybe they embrace total depravity because it resonates with them experientially, or because they do see it in the Bible, but they've never actually studied. Like, I disagreed with particular redemption or limited atonement until I really studied both views, both scriptural interpretations. And
by both views, you're talking about, you're not reading a Calvinist view on for
unlimited atonement.
Unlimited atonement. Yeah. Like you are reading primary source. You know what I mean by that. You're reading from those that are proponents of that.
You don't want to. Yeah. If you just read critiques of other views, then you're not going to have the full picture.
Exactly.
So at any rate, so I do think that that's kind of how it boils down. Now, these Half-Caf Calvinists, they are, you kind of find them in different kind of churches, right? You don't just find them in the Calvinistic leaning churches. You do find them there, of course, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like I would say that we are a Reformed Baptist church, but we have lots of people here who are not Reformed.
Yeah.
I would say most people here are pretty thoroughgoing Calvinists, or they are Half-Caf Calvinists. They're kind of leaning that way.
I would say so. I mean,
that way.
also it's just part of our membership, right? Because when we come to our doctrinal statement and things like that,
We talk about Reformed Baptist
we
theology.
talk about Reformed Baptist theology, but we do have a lot of attenders
Yeah.
that may not be Reformed at all.
Right.
And
We have some members that aren't
We
even
have
Reformed.
members that are not Reformed.
Yeah, and by the way, the way we handle that is you
yeah.
don't have to be Reformed to be a member
Exactly.
here. You don't have to be a complementarian to be a member here.
Yeah, we got a number of them.
We have egalitarians who are members here. But here's the thing: whatever our differences are, we do not allow divisiveness.
Yeah, divisiveness. You don't allow that
divisiveness.
divisiveness to get in the way.
Yeah, no, we don't want division.
Yeah.
Division.
No,
we don't want
that doesn't work.
division.
No.
We don't want that kind of a thing happening in the church. So
And there's
where
a
we're
place
at.
for people to share. Like we have people that
Struggle.
they don't agree with us on certain things, but they have a place to speak. We'd rather people be honest and true to themselves,
Right.
than
That's fine.
to kind of fake it and go with the flow.
Right. So
It's not going to diminish you in any way.
yeah, like
here.
so, like when I think about the people that are non-Calvinists or who are egalitarian, they're not disallowed from sharing their perspective if it
Correct.
comes up. But in terms of leading some kind of a charge or whatever to change our doctrinal position, that would not be acceptable. So we've got people here that are thoroughly Reformed. We've got four-pointers or people that are maybe just squared away on the doctrine of salvation. But I would expect that in a Calvinist church or in Calvinist leaning churches. But you once said that you think that we've got Half-Caf Calvinists in the non-Reformed churches, the explicitly non-Reformed churches.
Yeah, I mean, and part of it for me is like looking and experiencing, I guess, in that context when I've been in non-Reformed churches, specifically when it comes to prayer, right? And that's just one example. And I think actually, what's his name? What's his name?
Snapping?
Nope, I'm snapping. I'm trying to remember the name. It was a
Jim Caviezel.
No, stop it! You're gonna
Jim Caviezel.
You're gonna stop it.
Liam
J.I.
Neeson.
Packer.
Oh.
It was J.I. Packer in. The sovereign.
Don't touch
gospel
this.
No,
Can't touch this.
The gospel and the sovereignty of God, or something like that.
Evangelism
and the sovereignty of God. Yes, he talks about it actually in the introduction, if I remember correctly, or chapter 1. I couldn't make it past. Oh, you're doing this! Stop it!
All right, let's go.
But he talks about that, like, well, look at prayer. Like, even though we may say we are, for some people, that they are non-reformed, they don't believe in God's sovereign work in salvation.
Right, so they believe in libertarian free will, where
Yes.
all options are open to me. I can do one thing or the other, and if I were to go back in time, I could have done something different. Right?
Correct.
True free will.
Yes, but yet listen to the prayers. How then are you praying for the salvation?
I know how they pray. Here's how they pray. This is
Okay,
how
all right.
libertarian free will. They go, "Dear Lord, I'm eager to see my friend saved, but I know that you cannot violate his will."
No,
or
I've never heard
compel.
that.
No, I'm saying that you cannot compel him against his will.
No.
So I can't. I'm not praying that you would change his heart, but I am praying that he would
I've never
change
heard
his
that.
heart. But I know you can't make it happen. So
I wish you would get.
I'm
I wish
just-
you would be.
is that-
I
is
wish
that how
someone
it
would
is?
come along and explain the gospel in such a convincing way that they would receive it gladly. No, I've never heard anyone pray like that.
how do they pray?
Father, save my family.
Right? Change their heart.
Change
convict
their
their
heart.
sin- convict them of their sin.
Convict
Right.
them of their sins. And so in my head, it's like, it's sort of, I don't use this word loosely. It sounds inconsistent.
Yeah.
Right? Like it
Yeah,
sounds,
that's a good word.
It sounds inconsistent to say on one hand, God does not violate someone's free will unto salvation. And yet
Right.
you're praying and pleading with God, save them.
All right, but here's the thing. I agree. I mean, I don't know any other way to pray unless God is truly sovereign.
And we might not be understanding like our traditionalist friends on this, right? Like,
Oh, you just named him. You just
I'm-
called out
listen,
the traditionalists.
This is a
Hey,
podcast
let me just
for
say,
Reformed Baptist.
I was not
Stop
calling.
it.
Hey, to all my traditionalist friends.
No.
I was not calling you out.
You know what?
That's
It's
Jimmy.
not me calling it out, but I want to say
Yeah.
that I might not have the right understanding. I'm sure they've got answers. I'm sure
yeah.
that they have, that there's something.
Dr. Flowers.
Dr. Layton, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there would be some sort of response to this, and
Yeah.
I welcome that. I'd welcome that. I mean, we've had lots of great conversations with our traditionalist friends, and we've engaged online with Dr. Flowers and have enjoyed him immensely. Actually, we were talking about that just even a few weeks ago about Soteriology 101. Like you and I were talking about how I appreciate the cordial nature of our interactions with him, and then actually. Last week, he had actually said something very kind to us after our first episode, which I thought I took it. When I saw that tweet, I felt to myself, I was like, I really appreciated that coming from him.
I remember, you sent me a screen grab of it, and I go, "Who's Leighton Flowers? Oh. Who's that guy?" I was like, I don't know that guy. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's the thing. Is like. Dr. Flowers and that camp, just like us and our camp, it's a big mixed bag. We got jerks in the traditionalist camp, and we got jerks in the Calvinist camp, and then we got guys like Dr. Leighton Flowers who's not that way.
Exactly.
I really don't feel that way. I think he's really cool.
So I would actually, if he's listening,
he's welcome. Yeah, of course.
I would love to hear just even how that works, because I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like it's too simple of an answer. Do you know what I mean? It feels too simple, or too general, simplistic. Yet I've never heard a satisfying answer to it.
Right. Well, and they would probably say the same thing. Like, how do you tell people that Jesus died for their sins? Mm-hmm. Right. And this will get into when we get into the straw Calvinist episode coming up. But how do you tell people that Jesus died? I mean, don't you tell people that they should believe in Jesus and that he died for their sins?
Absolutely.
Well, I don't say that Jesus died for their sins. I say Jesus died for sinners. I say Jesus died for sinners like you. I say that God loves sinners, and then I refer to us. God loved us while we were yet sinners and things like that. But if I'm getting very specific, I don't. So that's one little small part of my answer when I'm talking about the evangelistic appeal.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that there are small things like that and large things that he might have a response on. So, but regardless, there are people that are non-reformed who do pray like that and who do probably have some inconsistencies in there where they do believe in a sovereign God, but at the same time, if you press them on it, they wouldn't articulate a theology that affirms that, but it would come out in a prayer. I think that's a fair thing to say, Jimmy. But again, to all my traditionalist peeps out there, Jimmy was the one that called you, not me.
No, but see, I like engaging. I like
you
engaging.
like judging.
I'm not judging. Are you
totally
kidding me?
them.
There's only a couple that might judge.
Okay, there are a couple.
Yeah. There are a couple.
Yeah.
But so we
have some that are worth judging too. And we're probably worth judging half the time. So.
Yeah.
All right, but who cares, dude? Like, why are we doing a 5-point episode? Well, we know we're doing 5 point.
Yeah.
Why are we doing a 5-point series on the different kinds of Calvinists, and why in particular half-calf Calvinists? What does it matter if somebody's half-calf?
Well, I think part of it is you kind of said it there at the beginning, Joe, or just a few moments ago. Inconsistency, and I think part of it is not maybe not for some thinking through. Like we talked about the ignorance aspect of it, but I think part of it is there's an inconsistency for those whose conscience is binding.
Yeah,
and I think that there's it's also important because some people have just not thought it through. And I think that's important as well.
It's not the labels are less important than the ideologies, the principles, the doctrines, right? The truths.
Yeah.
These issues are important. Now, the labels are helpful because those labels relate to specific viewpoints.
Yeah.
So
I think the labels are good.
Yeah. Let's talk about labels.
Oh, we're going to talk about labels now? All right, go.
So quit looking at your little iWatch.
We're getting a bunch
Is it called
of
an iWatch?
Apple Watch.
Cheesy looking. Look at my watch. My watch has analog.
Hey, I don't like this banter. This banter is
I'm
too
sorry.
much banter.
I got distracted. All right, so labels. You like labels because you like judging people. That's why you like labels. That is exactly why you call. Do you want me to start sharing all the labels that you throw on people when we're driving around? You want me to start sharing those right now?
Oh, that's not funny because you're making something up that's not true. Yeah, you're making
Jimmy
something up.
Fowler.
Yeah, what labels have
Jimmy
I?
Rodriguez Fowler.
Oh,
you
that's
tell
not
the truth.
That's not my middle name. That's not my middle name. And that's not my middle name. I just want you. I can't believe
You can't
just
even
said
admit that.
I can't.
Oh, come on. No, Jimmy is a very calm driver, actually. I am the one that gets really uptight.
I can't think of what I've said.
No. So why do you like labels?
Well, I think labels kind of help us to understand not where we are specifically, but it does do that. But I think it also helps how we can, where other people are at. So I'm trying to think of like here's an example. Dr. Rick Patrick had written that article about some Calvinists like applying at traditionalist churches, but not really being like upfront about being reformed.
Yeah, not wanting to use the word Calvinist.
Yeah. Okay. So I have an issue with that, not with what Dr. Patrick said, because I actually agree with Dr. Patrick, but I think my issue is I found it comforting to know, like if I'm going to be going to a church, even when I was moving back here, I knew as I looked at the statement of faith for Redeemer Fellowship, where you guys stood, I knew this would be a place where I would fit in. I wouldn't want to go to a place. And now there might be some churches where I'm like, you know what? It's still a gospel-centered church. It's still a church that preaches the gospel, and I could do well there, I believe. But I was looking for a reformed church. So there's a commonality. There's a communal agreement.
So you're saying
doctrinally.
You're saying the labels help to identify where people are at, but that's only true because I like labels, and labels are only good, in my opinion, when they are accurate.
Okay, which we're going to talk about in the next one.
And when they are rightly understood. So it would be accurate to call me a Calvinist or a Reformed Baptist.
Yes.
But it still may not be rightly understood by people who have a misunderstanding of what those words mean.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would say that if you're going to candidate at a church and they want to know, are you a Calvinist? I would say, well, I would classify myself as a Calvinist, but I wouldn't say I'm a Calvinist by some other people's definition. So let me explain to you what that means. And then you just take your lumps like a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a woman. So, not that I think women should be, I'm just, all right.
No, but you're talking about like when you're going to a church and you're getting it.
So I do think that labels are good when they are accurate.
Yeah.
So they have to be accurate and they have to be rightly understood. So let's just talk about some good labels. What are some good labels that you like for us? Like we use labels at Redeemer.
We use labels at Redeemer, like
orientation class. We say like we're Baptist.
We're Baptist.
That's a label.
We say that we are Baptist.
In fact,
we're Southern Baptist.
We love telling people that we're Southern Baptist because they're
Dude,
like,
did I tell you that? Oh, I didn't tell you yet.
Well, tell me, because when we tell people we're Southern Baptist, they go, "No, you're not Southern Baptist." Like, we are.
No, I had that recently happen.
Okay, tell the story.
All right, so Joe knows he's been praying. We had some customers visiting this past week, and so we go through the meeting. We have this person coming in from California. I'm learning to become friends with someone higher up in the company. So he made this happen. He brought in their senior buyer from California just for this meeting. And so we met, we talked, went through everything. And then
you were a little nervous about that meeting.
I was really nervous. And then as I'm walking them out, she goes, "Hey, so what's his name? I don't want to say his name. Told me you work at a church." I'm like, "Oh." This is it's like there's a few people that know,
right.
And so it's not, and so he knows because he's my neighbor. And so, I'm like, yeah, I work for a church here in town or in St. Charles. And, I love it. Enjoy it. And she goes, I'm a youth pastor or not youth pastor. I'm a youth leader at my church. My husband's the pastor. And, I just, what denomination are you? And I go, well, I'm Southern Baptist. She goes, "You're Southern Baptist?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "I mean, forgive me, but I've noticed you've got a beard, long hair, tattoos, and your bag reeks of cigar smoke." And I'm like, "And I also drink bourbon with this guy here." And I'm like, and she's just like looking at me, and I go, "Yeah, I'm a unicorn, when it comes to the Southern Baptist Convention." And she shared her denomination and where she's at and everything. So it was actually really intriguing to me that even in that moment, people hear that label Southern Baptist and they have this picture in their head But then there come people like Joe and I and people at Redeemer and quite a few other Southern Baptist churches.
Yeah, that shatter the stereotype.
That we shatter the stereotype because we agree wholeheartedly, and I think and we love the Southern Baptist Convention. We love being a part of it. I can't see not being in the convention
with all of its diversity.
And so, I think that's,
Yeah, it's great. It's funny because when we get it, I've had people, question me in the cigar shop.
Yeah.
Frequently. They're like, really? And it's not like there's one stereotype, though. There's a bunch of stereotypes.
Yeah.
Some people think of Southern Baptist and they think racist. I've had a guy, in fact, I think it was, I don't want to say, it was a guy at the cigar shop.
Yeah, don't say the name.
But I think it was Tommy.
Okay,
anyways.
why are you gonna say that?
but it probably wasn't. But it was somebody who said like, I thought Southern Baptist was all like black gospel churches. I thought when I think Southern Baptist, I think black gospel church.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And so like there's like all these different
there's
stereotypes.
All these views and
super rigid, super legalistic. And I said, no, we're very, very diverse. And because we're the largest Protestant denomination in the world, unless you're a weirdo and don't think we're Protestants. But we're the largest Protestant denomination in the world. And that means that we've got a
wide range.
Yeah.
And so I think there's
bad churches and good churches and all kinds of
And I think there's a beauty in the range that we have.
Would you say it's like the rainbow?
No, I was actually going to go Reagan Big Umbrella, or Big Tent. So
wait, what?
The Reagan tent? Don't worry.
Yeah, but you said umbrella.
I know. I meant to say tent.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you don't even know what I'm talking about. And you lived through it.
Yeah. You think?
You were
all
what?
Right.
60 then?
I was on the Reagan campaign. I was campaigning for him back in the day.
All right. So what else then? What other labels do we have that are good?
So I think
we said Baptist, Southern Baptist.
Okay, I would say accurate labels that are fair. We could say we're Orthodox.
Yep.
Evangelical.
Yep.
Baptist.
Yep.
Reformed Baptist.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome.
No, some people don't say that.
Yeah. Cool.
No.
No. I thought. What about hip?
No. You got none of those.
I don't.
That's it? That's all the labels?
The guys at Humble Beast said I've got stees.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, though.
No, I don't know.
They like my stees.
They like your stees?
I don't know what it means.
You don't know what it means? They like your... It's short for sneeze.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, you sneezed. I was there.
No, you weren't there.
And you sounded kind of like this little...
That is how you sneeze. Now, you are lying.
No,
Jimmy Rodriguez, you are lying. Don't you lie. Whenever Jimmy sneezes, he goes, pew, pew. It's so funny. This big guy sneezing like, pew. All right, so we think labels are good, right?
I think labels are
They got to be accurate, and we want to be generous with people.
And understood. Like, they have to be rightly understood, like you said, right?
Yeah, it would. Listen, we've been labeled unfairly. We've been called emergent.
Oh my goodness!
We're the only emergent church that believes in hell, verbal plenary inspiration, the exclusivity of salvation in Jesus Christ. We've been called liberal.
Yep.
What? We've been
even the podcast. I had to delete that comment. You remember that comment?
Oh, well, I didn't care about that. That guy, that wasn't the liberal guy. That was the guy saying that we're homophobic.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So yeah, we get.
But no, it was because of his language. I deleted that comment.
Yeah,
the language was just.
I would have like asterisked every one of the times he swore, and then I would put a tally at the bottom and give him points for all the swear words.
You know what really annoyed me though about that was that wasn't there. They created that handle just for that, and it was a anonymous. Like if you're gonna say something like that, be a man and actually let it be
or
you.
Woman
or woman. Let it be you.
Why you gotta be so like complimentarian all the time? Everything patriarchal. All right, so big picture here. What do we want for everybody? We're having this conversation. We care about theology. Let's be honest. Do we want all Christians to be Calvinists?
Do we want all Christians to be Calvinists?
Yeah.
How do you answer that?
You answer it with a big fat caps lock yes.
You want all Christians to be Calvinists?
Of course.
But you're talking. But hold on though. But there's a lot of baggage with that answer though, because then it becomes like we've been accused of in the past of trying to overtake the convention.
Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. If I think that this theological position is true, reflects Scripture,
people to because I believe it is faithful to what Scripture teaches.
I would like everybody to adopt this theological perspective.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Okay, so if you're a traditionalist, then you should want everybody to adopt your position because you believe it's true. If you don't believe it's true, If you do believe it's true, then you must want people to embrace the truth.
Fair, yeah,
Otherwise,
fair.
you're being some kind of a hypocrite or something. It doesn't make any sense. But we know that not everybody's going to be Calvinist. We know that we're going to disagree. We know that, and how should we feel about the disagreements, about the diversity, about the competing or conflicting theological positions? How should we feel about it?
I don't know what you mean by feel, because
Oh
we
my
were talking
gosh,
about convictions. That's what I'm trying to say. Like when you say, how should we feel about this? Like
Yeah,
we should feel, well, with our convictions and what we see true in Scripture, I think we should feel overwhelmed with joy and worship because our convictions should lead to a deeper and richer communion and relationship with God.
Okay, what I asked is how should we feel about the conflicting views?
Oh, I didn't hear you say conflicting
I know,
views.
because you got that weird. When I said feel, you got all confused.
I got all confused by feel. Why do you want me to feel things?
Well, because it actually matters. I think like, okay, so like for example, what I'm saying is I want everybody to be a Calvinist, just like I want everybody to be a Christian.
Yeah.
But if they're not a Christian, how do I feel about them? I still love them.
You still love them.
They're
You're still reaching out to them. Yeah.
Right? And if somebody is not a Calvinist, how do I feel about our disagreement? Well, on one level, I regret it. I think it's fair to say I regret that there is disagreement, but at the same time,
we don't allow it to become a divisive nature about it.
Right. I mean, listen, we're still believers.
Yes.
And if I have to boil it down, what I'm going to say is okay, ideologically, I would love everybody to embrace Reformed Baptist theology because I do think it is a beautiful reflection of Scripture.
Yes.
That's not going to happen. So what I do hope and what I do push hard for is for everyone to study well and to take these issues seriously.
I like that. Yep.
And yeah, we can disagree. And as long as we are grounded in the gospel that Jesus Christ came into the world to save sinners, of whom hopefully we all believe I am the worst, and not me, Joe Thorne.
No,
the person
but
saying
you are
it.
though.
You know, I know that I am.
Yeah, Joe
I
Thorne
agree with
is
that.
the worst. Yeah, we all believe it.
So but we're brothers and sisters, and
Yes.
that's when you start finding cranky Calvinists or legalistic traditionalists or whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
No,
when
you're
you
just
find
throwing out things,
abuses out
On
there,
either side.
those people are wrong. If we believe that Jesus alone saves sinners by his grace and mercy through his death and resurrection, only by his grace we receive it through faith, then we should be good.
Yeah.
We should be really good. And we could talk and we could disagree.
We should be gracious and charitable with each other.
Right. Absolutely.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. You could follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head on to the website, doctrinedevotion.com. There you can contact us, sign up for our email list, or hit up the store. Grab yourself the Reformation 500T or register for the 2018 Doctrine Devotion Conference, The Spirit and the Church.
Early bird discount.
Early bird sucker!
That's the hashtag. Some people are really bothered by that.
Really?
Last year, because our hashtag, not the hashtag, the discount code for early bird registration is early bird sucka.
Yeah.
And some people did not like having to type that in. Listen, that's how we roll. We
That's
just
how
have
we do
fun.
Yep.
And if you're conscious won't let you type it in, not a problem. You know what? We'll work with you. You don't get the discount. That's how it works. There you
Fresh
go.
pod every Monday and Thursday, blog post Wednesdays, video content
Ooh, we're working
Fridays.
on some. We got some blog
special
post
stuff.
ideas.
Yep, exactly.
Since Jimmy doesn't write anymore,
Later.
neither do I.
Later. Stop
Go.
it. No, stop it.
I'm not doing it.
I know you need to
Rodriguez.
stop. Oh, God.